Yesterday, Casey Walsh tweeted, "I saw a story that Marvel reached out to Ben Affleck for a Daredevil cameo. This was something I heard as well, but I wouldn't expect a cameo." Here's what I'll say about Multiverse of Madness cameos. Any idea you've had, they've tried or concepted on top of 10 more you didn't even think of. And in response, Big Screen Leaks on Twitter said, "For obvious reasons, I was asked to keep this a secret, but Marvel did indeed reach out to Affleck for a cameo as Daredevil. They sent out preliminary contracts to his team, but I'm not sure if anything came out of it. Keep in mind I heard this back in October/November, so anything could have happened since then. I haven't heard any updates though." And Tom Smith also tweeted that Doctor Strange 2 is going to be a big celebration of Marvel, much how like Spider-Man No Way Home was a celebration of the Spider-Man franchise. Expect a ton of crazy cameos as Strange and Wanda battle throughout the multiverse. If you go back to my old videos, actually don't do that, that's a pretty bad idea. I'm serious. But anyways, I really wanted to see the original Kraven the Hunter story that was set to happen in Spider-Man No Way Home. And when it started to get rumored that Tobey and Andrew were returning, at first I was a bit disappointed. I was never one of the people that doubted their return because I knew that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios could make it happen, but I wasn't sure how it would play out. Of course I loved the other two versions of Spider-Man, but after seeing the masterpiece that was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I didn't know if they'd be able to do it in live action. However, after watching No Way Home, I'm so glad that Marvel did make that decision. And since the multiverse is currently the main focus in the MCU, and seems like it will continue to be for years to come, again seeing how good of a job Marvel Studios and Sony did with No Way Home, I'm all for having as many cameos in Doctor Strange 2, especially since we'll hopefully be seeing actors like Sir Patrick Stewart, Ewan Griffith, Nick Cage, and Ben Affleck return, as well as my favorite Marvel group, or team, whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati. And apparently two versions of that team, as it's rumored that Sir Patrick Stewart's Professor X will lead the multiversal Illuminati, consisting of characters like Captain Carter, Monica Rambeau, Balder the Brave, and Mordo. But it's also been rumored that we'll see the comic-accurate version of the team as well, with Doctor Strange, Professor X, Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Black Bolt, and Namor the Submariner. Basically what I'm trying to say is that it's quite likely that Marvel will be able to get all these actors to return, and hopefully for meaningful cameos like in No Way Home. So whether you want Hugh Jackman to return as Wolverine, or Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, it's quite likely that it will happen, at least in some small role. Next, whether you loved or hated the Eternals, it's undeniable that we're bound to get a second movie at some point, since the first movie set up a real confrontation against Arishem when he kidnapped Cersei. Something that's really interesting though is that screenwriter Kaz Firpo confirmed that Ikaris did actually kill himself by flying into the sun. In an interview with comicbook.com, he said it began as an exile that I think, throughout the course of the filmmaking, really became something that needed to be definitive. It really is a moment of saying, it's a sacrifice. It's sort of saying, I can't serve the Eternals. I also can't serve the Celestials and still be with my family. So I choose this third option, which for him really was Oblivion. So yeah, he's dead. However, what you may not have expected is that yesterday, Emmy Triggers, a TikToker and the sister of Joe Kennard, the stunt double for Richard Madden who played Ikaris, said when your brother is a stunt double and his next job is for a character coming back to the MCU. So while the MCU version of Ikaris seemingly died, unless this is for a flashback in an upcoming project or the Eternals 2, which him returning in the Eternals 2 even if he is dead in current times is obvious, since there are still thousands of years of their history left unexplored, but shortly after the Eternals came out, people started speculating that Ikaris would return, but would instead be the Sentry. Now, I personally wouldn't want this, and I would prefer to have both Ikaris and the Sentry. But the Sentry does have the power of 1 million exploding suns, and seeing how Ikaris killed himself by flying into a sun, should he find the void and be reborn with the power of the sun, it could make sense. Another possibility is that we see an alternate version of Ikaris appear through the multiverse, mainly Hyperion. I know that Hyperion is a completely different character from Ikaris, but in the comics, Hyperion is an Eternal from an alternate universe and the leader of the Squadron Supreme, Marvel's pastiche Justice League. So since Ikaris is dead in the MCU, assuming that he doesn't return as the Sentry with the power of the sun, and this role isn't just for a flashback in Eternals 2 or another project, one other possibility could be for him to appear through the multiverse as Hyperion and bring with him the Squadron Supreme. And lastly, Marvel may have cast Miles Morales. Of course, this actor could be playing a plethora of Marvel characters, but with the appeal and desire to see Miles in the MCU, it's only natural that people would assume that this is his role. However, seeing as Sony owns the rights to Miles, I wonder how Marvel would introduce him into the MCU. Or if it'll be another joint project with Sony, possibly in the Sam Raimi or TASM universes. Anyways, according to My Time to Shine Hello, Marvel Studios have been in contact with Jaden Smith for a role. And some people have now started speculating that just like how the kid in Iron Man 2 that Tony Stark saved ended up being Spider-Man, the kid at the end of Black Panther who saw T'Challa's ship could have been Miles Morales. Now, as we all know, Miles lives in Brooklyn, but where we saw that kid was Oakland, California. However, it is possible that should that kid actually be Miles Morales, his parents just moved to Brooklyn later on. In my opinion though, it's not the best idea, and if you're gonna introduce Miles, make him Puerto Rican and from Brooklyn, not from Oakland. But I guess that if that's really what Marvel wanted to do, to give Miles a different reason to be a hero since Spider-Man in the MCU is much younger, something like I want to be like Black Panther when I grow up, it could make sense. But let me know what you guys think about all this. Do you think we'll see Ben Affleck's Daredevil and the Illuminati in Doctor Strange 2? And if so, are there any other characters you'd like to see or actors you'd like to see return? Do you think that Ikaris should return as Ikaris or as the Sentry, Hyperion, or a different character? And would you like to see Jaden Smith as Miles Morales, or should he play someone else? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you will never miss another video. Thanks for watching, and remember to wash your hands and stay safe.